Hire the man. I'll tell you why Eliot Wolf should be made the formal general manager of the New England Patriots here on Patscast. Welcome to Patscast. I'm Brad Whitaker. The NFL draft is a distant relic at this point, and again, it just gets sadder and sadder every day. It's like we're past Christmas, New Year's is over, we have to go back to school, Christmas vacation is done. Always a sad time of year, but that doesn't mean the storylines don't continue, and the Patriots have been playing a little bit hard to get when it comes to naming Eliot Wolf the formal general manager, and frankly, I just think it's unfair at this point. We heard they're actually going to do some formal interviews and consider other guys for the general manager role. Eliot Wolf, probably the presumable favorite at this point, but I don't know why we're tiptoeing around. If you were going to hire a GM, you should have done it back in January. Gotten Adam Peters, the guy who ended up going to Washington from San Francisco, was with the Patriots organization in the past. He was kind of the big GM name. I think he did a pretty good job in the draft, but they decided we're going to do this GM by committee thing with Matt Groh, with Eliot Wolf. Jerod Mayo is going to have input. We're going to have input throughout the front office, throughout the coaching staff. And then it ended up just being Eliot Wolf making the decisions at the end of the day. He was the one who did the week before the draft Thursday press conference all by himself, took questions from the media, said, I'm not even thinking about being the GM. I'm just trying to do what's best for the football team. Of course he's going to say that, but he's the guy who goes up on the podium with Jerod Mayo after they select Drake May at 3rd overall. Eliot Wolf has been the key decision maker throughout this process. And really, I just feel like this is a way for Robert Kraft, Jonathan Kraft to keep their fingerprints on the front office, on the organization, on the decision-making there, because they know Bill Belichick controlled way too much for 2 decades, and they want to have their organization back. And the moment they name Eliot Wolf the general manager, the moment they lose control of the team again. But I gotta say, I think Eliot Wolf's done a pretty damn good job so far. Has it been perfect? No. Did he strike out a few times during free agency? Of course. But was he willing to spend money in ways that Bill Belichick never would have considered? Of course. Was he willing to bring back guys, foundational pieces, probably spend a little bit more than Bill Belichick would have to ensure that this roster doesn't have any glaring holes on it at positions that were pretty good, particularly on the defensive side this past season? Yes. He brought back all the key guys, Hunter Henry, Kyle Duggar, Christian Barmore, Kendrick Bourne. He went to work on Christian Barmore immediately after the draft. Guy got paid, and now the Patriots are good on defense, really kind of going forward. They have an elite group of defensive players. Maybe these aren't all pro guys necessarily, but these are guys that are going to compete every year and make sure the Patriots are at the very least a top 10 defense in the NFL for years to come as you rebuild the offense. Speaking of the offense, Eliot Wolf didn't do what Bill Belichick would have done and taken 6 defensive players when all your needs are offensive. And that's what Eliot Wolf did. He got all but one of the players drafted were offensive players. Not only that, he addressed key positions. He addressed the quarterback position. He double-dipped at wide receiver. He double-dipped with the offensive line. He added a tight end, which we know Austin Hooper is kind of just a bridge guy there. He added a guy that probably fell a little too far. They probably were eyeing in the 5th or 6th round, got him later in the draft. They even got another quarterback, a guy similar to Drake May, in case that doesn't work out. And the one defensive player they got was a position of need, cornerback, a guy who could potentially start opposite Christian Gonzalez on the outside. Very sticky corner. Very excited with what Eliot Wolf has done. Again, wasn't perfect. I have some question marks. Is Caden Wallace going to be the starting left tackle of the future? Is Chuck Okorafor going to be a solid left tackle for the Patriots if Wallace isn't ready to go at the position? I'm not so sure about that. Wide receiver, he didn't get burners, right? But he got reliable guys. He got Jalen Polk, a guy who I've heard at least comparisons from Greg Bedard saying he is a more athletic version of Jacoby Myers, who Belichick let go. He got Javon Baker, a guy who I think they absolutely stole, a guy who I would have been happy if they drafted in the 2nd round, got him in the 4th. They only got that pick because they were willing to deal away that second round pick, which Eliot Wolf smartly did, and they were able to gather an additional fourth round pick and get a guy like Javon Baker who could potentially turn into a true boundary X wide receiver. And just because these guys aren't burners doesn't mean they're not fast on the field. I mean, the 40-yard dash has become like the most overrated metric in all of sports, all right? We see this with Tyquan Thornton. He ran one of the greatest, if not the greatest, 40-yard time of all time. Then you get him on the field, he gets a little bit of contact, and he slows down. He's not a great route runner. These guys are good route runners. They can run on contact. They can win 50-50 balls. They're going to be much faster than that simple 40-yard time when they're not wearing pads. I think Eliot Wolf did a good job. He also got a guard because he wasn't confident in Bill Belichick's draft choices with guys like Cole Strange, a reach in the first round, or Sidney So, who we don't know if it's going to develop into a starting right guard. It looked a little better at the end of the season. We don't know if Cole Strange is going to be healthy. Also, you have Wallace, who could also play the guard position as well, if he's not quite ready to play left tackle. Patriots got some foundations now. They have a defense that should be competing to be top 10, maybe even top 5 in the NFL. And now they have some potential offensive weapons. He brought in KJ Osborne as well. We know Kendrick Bourne, what he can contribute, at least when he's healthy. Demario Douglas, one of the few good draft selections this past season, looks to be the slot wide receiver of the future. And then we'll see how Javon Baker and Jalen Polk develop. And of course, there's Drake May. Eliot Wolf didn't get too cute with it either. It's not like he reached for a lot of guys. Like maybe he could have gotten Jalen Polk a little later, but he traded back because they were eyeing Jalen Polk. He didn't get too cute with it. He didn't draft J.J. McCarthy at 3rd overall, which would have pissed everyone off. Wouldn't have pissed me off. I like J.J. McCarthy. But he picked the obvious guy, Drake May. He didn't try to do too many weird things that made us go, oh, okay. All the years we said, in Bill we trust, until we didn't trust him anymore because he went a decade with poor drafts, particularly on the offensive side, certainly at the wide receiver position. Eliot Wolf got some real dogs out of this draft. So give him the formal GM title. Things are changing. We don't have to do this front office by committee thing. We're not going to give guys title because we don't want to pay them or we want ownership to have more control. No, things are different in New England now. We have a new head coach, Jerod Mayo. Players are picking their numbers right after they're drafted. Drake May already has his jersey for sale, number 10, in the Patriots Pro Shop. If Bill Belichick were still there, we wouldn't know Drake May's number. He'd be wearing number 50. Literally, in training camp, he'd be wearing that up until the first week of the preseason when he could finally pick number 10. Or maybe some second-year player would take number 10 from him and he'd pick some number he doesn't like. All right, players are picking their numbers now. That's different. They get to wear the captain patches. That's a little bit different. The culture's changing. It's more of a collaborative, open, player-friendly atmosphere. Let's actually give coaches titles now. Let's actually give front office members titles. They did give Alex Van Pelt the offensive coordinator job. That was something Jerod Mayo was saying was important. You got to give people titles. You got to have people understand their role. And right now, I don't really know what Eliot Wolf's role is currently. Is he the GM? We all kind of assume he is. But look, we don't know if this is going to be considered a successful draft, and we're not going to really know for 2 to 3 years. But you're just going to go 2 to 3 years without giving a GM role to somebody? Give it to Eliot Wolf. Let him have the confidence, and he's a confident guy, but let him have the confidence to be a real general manager and to build this roster for at least a couple of seasons and see if it's sink or swim. And you know, you can always fire the guy if it doesn't work out, but I think he's done a good job so far. I think he deserves the title. Things are changing in New England. That being said, I think they are changing a little bit too fast, if you ask me. I have this mouse pad here, Tom Brady on it, says do your job. Some days I forget what I'm doing. I look down and I go, oh, okay, that's right. I need to be working. I need to be doing my job. This mouse pad always reminds me. Well, Jerod Mayo took down the signs around the Patriots facility that said do your job. How are players going to know? They're not going to know, right? It's ridiculous, in my opinion. Do your job. The Patriot Way. These were things we talked about for decades. Now players are going to be wandering around having no idea. You know those little inspirational posters that you see on the wall? Has a person standing over a cliff. It says, "Take the leap." Those things work. I mean, those particular posters seem a little suicidal to me. If you ask me, maybe, if he has like a parachute or something, a lot of times he doesn't. Like, he's just standing over a cliff and it says, take the leap, or take the leap of faith or something. I don't think that's necessarily wise, but people see that and they go, oh, okay, I'm inspired now. Well, Jerod Mayo took those down and replaced them with different slogans that I'm not really a big fan of. One is, "We not me." Okay. "Hard work works." Bit redundant there, if you ask me. And "Process, progress, payoff." Well, do your job. Like, it's that simple, all right? It's 3 simple words. Do your job. Now, I know we're trying to erase any signs of Bill Belichick, and we want it to be a more open atmosphere. And yes, I like some of the things. I like the players picking their numbers. I want Eliot Wolf to have a formal title. I think he deserves it. But this worked. This absolutely worked. It works for me. I don't forget what I need to be doing. The moment I put this away, I'm going to be unemployed because I'm going to forget what's important. I don't know what I'm going to have to do with myself if I don't look down at this mouse pad every single day. Now, I guess they did put up like a mural or something of Bill Belichick to at least keep his presence, keep the history there in the Patriots facility. Jerod Mayo's been working with team exec Robin Glazier. Shouldn't she be writing contracts? Like, isn't that her job? But instead, she's, according to NFL Network, bringing visual themes to life, including bringing in a Boston area artist to produce a grand, colorful mural inside the facility. I guess that's the Belichick thing. I'm not sure. But I don't know. I think Jerod Mayo should be working on the playbook with Alex Van Pelt. I think Robin Glazier should be writing contracts and working on the daycare facility and all these things that didn't work out on the NFLPA report card or whatever it is that Robin Glazier does. I think she is a big part. Like, she has legal background. She's the one that writes all these contract extensions and things like that. I don't know. This is what works. If you're listening, I'm holding up a mouse pad of Tom Brady that says, "Do your job." And if my wife throws this in the garbage, like, we might as well sell the house because we're not making any money, because I look at that and I say, oh, I have to be doing my job. And I don't know what the Patriots players are going to do now walking through. Like, what is this? Hard work works? Like, just say work hard. Or just put discipline on the wall. Like, that's fine. We, not me. Okay, all right, but what about me? What do I need to do to contribute to we? I need to do my job. Process, progress, payoff. When I first read that, I thought it said process, progress, playoff, and I kind of like that, right? It kind of set expectations a little bit. But payoff? What's the payoff? You know how you get payoff? By doing your job. Not a fan of this move by Jerod Mayo, Robin Glazier. I think they got more important things to focus on. And they need to talk to Robert Kraft about making Eliot Wolf the formal GM. But that's it for this episode of Pat's Cast. If you think we're running out of stories, we're not. I just think Eliot Wolf needs the formal title, because then we can really see. Let Wolf cook, Let him cook. Let him do the things. Let him embrace the Packer way. And we'll see how it works out in New England. I like what he's done so far, but we're going to have more stories, more breaking news. I'm still not ruling out the idea of the Patriots making a major trade for a big-name wide receiver, maybe trading away future draft picks. People still think the Patriots are going to be a bad team. I don't. I think, hey, the offense is going to be mediocre and the defense is going to be very good, and that is a potential playoff team right there. Mediocre offense and a good defense, that's a playoff team. I've said that on the podcast the last couple of times. But other teams around the league think they're going to be drafting in the top 5 again next season. So I say you trade one of those picks and go after Brandon Ayuk, A.J. Brown, if the Eagles will take the calls, or T. Higgins, and really boost that receiving core. I'm not sure if Juju's going to make the roster. he was a bit disappointing. I think he only had like 20 catches last season. So there's going to be plenty more to talk about in the coming days, in the coming weeks. And I'm thinking about covering the Tom Brady roast that's taking place this weekend, giving a reaction to that. And then minicamp, training camp, preseason, regular season, all around the corner. And then also we got the NFL schedule release coming out. And certainly we know Eliot Wolf is not done. Maybe he'll do more if you give him the GM title. I don't know. That's what I say. So we'll be here at Patscast to cover it. If you're watching YouTube, be sure to like this video, subscribe to this channel. Let me know if you agree in the comments below. Should Eliot Wolf be the formal GM, or do you still want to tiptoe around like Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft want to do? And also subscribe if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. We'll be back the rest of the week with more Patriots coverage.
In the land of the Pats, where legends of the